So he refers to the print capitalism as one of the forms of the development of nationalism in India. There is another new network in the form of secondary schools was created. Apart from print capitalism by the bilingual, newly educated elite class, they were newly educated in English. They, under the influence of the European model, they tried to bring the nationalism which is modern and recognizably Indian under the spiritual domain, we can say. And another form that was used was the network of secondary schools, high schools, we call it. So here as well, nationalism sought to bring this area under its jurisdiction. Our educational system was brought under the Indian system itself, under its jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is a legal term. We say under the jurisdiction of Nagar, Pune, we say Adhipatya Khali. So before the domain of the state had become a matter of contention. Before this, actually, education is the domain of the state. Before that itself, it was brought under the jurisdiction of nationalism. And then again, he refers to Bengal. In Bengal, from the second half of the 19th century. Now, second half of the 19th century means after 1850, maybe in 1870 or so. It was the new elite that took the lead in mobilizing a national effort to start schools in every part of the province. The new elite class, as it happened in Maharashtra as well. If you go back to the history of Deccan Education Society, which runs Ferguson College, Willingdon College at Sangli, okay, or Progressive Education Society. So these were the efforts made by the scholars, the elite class in Maharashtra as well. Rayat, I think, came, Rayat Shikshan Sanstha, we today call it today. So these were the efforts made by the educated people. They took initiative, leadership in mobilizing a national effort to start schools in every part of the province and then to produce a suitable educational literature. I suggest the students who are interested in studying this historical happening, they may look at the history of Maharashtra and compare it with this. The comparative study can be made. What happened in Bengal and what happened during the same time in Maharashtra. So we know means many of the reformers in Maharashtra as well took initiative in doing these things to create a suitable educational literature. They took initiative, and it was assisted by print capitalism, literature, language, and literature, books published in local languages, in Bengali, in Marathi, and the concerned regional language in the given area, in the given province. The institutions of secondary education provided the space where the new language and literature were both generalized and normalized. So the literature, the language in the printed form was introduced in the schools. So that became a general scenario, that became a normal scenario. Actually, education was a state controlled activity, but it came outside the domain of the state. State means the government, I mean to say. The British government was responsible for giving education. But these people, elite people, came together to start their own educational societies. As I mentioned, Deccan Education Society is one of the oldest education societies in Maharashtra. Progressive Education Society, etc. Okay, if you Karvez and all in Pune, you might be knowing. Dondo Keshav Karve also started his own educational institutions. So it was only when this space was opened up outside the influence of both the colonial state and the European missionaries. Earlier, the British government was the controller. At the same time, missionaries would run their schools. Even today, we come across some schools. For example, if you see Ahmednagar College, so it was established by the missionaries. And there are many convent schools, etc., which were established by the missionaries in Pune and other such cities. So it means these people tried to take the control out of these people, state and missionaries, and it became legitimate for women, for instance, to be sent to schools. Now, you know it very well. Mahatma Jyotiba Phule took initiative and he started a school for women. The first school was started at which Vada in Pune. Do you know the history of Savitribai Jyotiba Phule? So if you are familiar with, you must be knowing. I think Phule Vada, and at the same time, the University of Pune is named after Savitribai Phule because of this activity only. So it was also in this period from around the turn of the century, means around the end of the 19th century and the beginning of 20th century, the University of Calcutta was turned from an institution of colonial education. So many of the universities, firstly it was the University of Calcutta, which uh, was, you know, turned from an institution of colonial education to a distinctly national institution. It got its own, it was Presidency College earlier, you might be knowing that. And it became the University of Calcutta. It became a national institution. And its curriculum, its faculty, and its resources of funding, everything was Indian. This is a reference from Anil Chandra Banerjee. Okay, there is a reference. You may go through the reference list which is given below. Fine. So this is how we understand that the nationalization of the university started taking place. So the first university was the University of Calcutta, then we have Madras University, then the University of Bombay. So all these universities. So if you go for the history of the University of Calcutta, Bombay, etc., you'll realize that they were taken out of the control from the British government. Earlier, they were the colleges run by the missionaries. Okay, it is one of the Mumbai University or Calcutta University are the oldest universities in India. It started happening in the very what we call at the end of the 19th century. So this is what we understand about the educational circle or educational domain, which was taken outside the domain of the state. Earlier, it was under the control of the government, but gradually it was controlled by, means they started their own educational institutions.